Hey folks, this is David back again with another video. Welcome back to Red, Gold, and Blue Nation movies. This is, of course, my movie review channel, and today I want to talk about what I saw at the theater yesterday, April 19th, 2019, Shazam. First things first, I really enjoyed the movie. I'm glad I went to see it at the theater. It was worth it, and a little bit about that. I don't know anything about Shazam going into it, and I was kind of glad about that. Just because I wasn't a DC, an avid fan or comic book character of a lot of the DC stuff. A lot of the stuff that I did read and buy when I was a kid was Marvel. But this character was really neat. It was really interesting. And another thing, I'm not really into magic or sorcery and stuff like that. I know, I think the Scarlet Witch and the Avengers and Doctor Strange, things like that. They bring those elements into the Marvel Avengers stuff, but Shazam and his origin story and the fact that his powers are magical, I actually enjoyed watching it on screen. Whereas I'm not a big Harry Potter type fan of that kind of stuff, witchcraft. I'm just not there. This was really enjoyable, and the way they did the film. Well, let me just get into it a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put spoilers in the uh, title, but I'm actually going to try and tone it down and not give away too much because this film, the same way I felt about Aquaman, another character who I just didn't know a whole lot about, but when they brought him out onto the big screen, the way that they did, I enjoyed that movie a whole lot. So it was just a couple months ago that I saw it, or whenever it was, the beginning of the year. And the same thing happened here. And I had read somewhere or just noticed some headline online about how Wonder Woman, Shazam, Aquaman, Shazam, three DC hits in a row, and I was thinking, you know what? I haven't seen Wonder Woman. It just didn't appeal to me that much. My family did, but I was gone out over the road when they saw that, I think, as I work as an over-the-road truck driver. But I did see Aquaman with them, and now I've seen Shazam, so I understand what they mean by three hits in a row. These films, I don't know what Shazam is going to make at the box office all told, but I can see why these films were hits. They really they really put the effort into it. And I can actually understand the success as far as the ticket sales and stuff because it is that entertaining. Again, it's all cheese, I know that, but the moral lessons that are there, at least there are lessons. The unlikely hero, the reluctant hero in the case of Aquaman, who rises to the challenge, and also in Shazam, there's a character who rises to the challenge. And again, there's the backstory of parentage, traumatic childhood things. And again, one little gripe I have against the film is the over-the-top bullying. It wasn't as bad as, say, Man of Steel, stuff like that. But it was just, I just thought again, like these are the kind of bullies I only ever see on TV and in superhero movies, especially. How the kid is just shoved around as a little kid, and how it's so bad. Well, let me start at the beginning. Like I said, I didn't know anything about Shazam going in, except there's a little kid who can say Shazam, and he becomes this adult size, like superhero guy with indestructible powers, and he can fly. And this guy's got lightning manipulation as his little friend, his childhood friends call it. And speaking of which, let me go ahead and mention that guy's name, Frankie. I'm sorry, Freddy, played by, I want to get the kid's name right, the actor. Man, I was really impressed by how well the kid actors did in this movie. Come on, where's Freddy? I'm looking at IMDb. They had the uh, superhero Freddy, but where in the world is where's Freddy the kid? Freddie Freeman. Let me see here. Jack Dylan Grazer. That's him. So Jack Dylan Grazer. He he is quite a character in this. He might be my favorite character in this outside of uh, Shazam, played by. Let me make sure I get his name right too. Asher Angel. It was just really well done. He is an orphan. He's run away from several foster homes, and he's been looking for his mother all this time. And the film opens with him as a small child. I mean, small. This little kid, even this little kid, the personality in his face. I mean, he seems so small he can barely walk. He has such a baby-like, childlike face. His mother wins this little ball compass for him, and so she says, "Here, you'll always be able to find your way with this." And you think somebody snatches it out of his hand at first. No, he dropped it on the ground as she's got him by the hand. They're walking along through this crowd at the fair, and he separates from her. The little kid goes, and people are accidentally kicking it all around, so he's going here and there trying to find it. And then when he finds it, he gets it in his hand and he says, "Mom, Mom." Then he's lost. And I'm thinking to myself, somebody needs to just start screaming, "Lost kid, lost kid! Everybody stop, lost kid!" And so you can get him back to his parents immediately. Well, no, the police basically take him because he's lost. He's lost his mother. It's a sad thing right at the beginning. And again, this is a flashback scene. He's actually 15 at the time or so uh, when he's thinking back on this. But that is his traumatic childhood story and his backstory going into the film and where he's at in his life as he's put in yet another foster home with really friendly people who have taken on half a dozen kids and everybody gets along, and it's really heartwarming, the entire situation of that couple and their family, uh, all the kids that they've adopted and are taken care of. Freddie is a kid who he's tried to run away, but he broke his leg going out of the window, so he's on a crutch the whole time, and so he has the image of the the crippled kid basically at school. He gets picked on a lot, and he gets shoved around in the movie, and yet the whole image, the whole persona that is that just comes off the screen as you're watching Freddy is this kid's got a lot of heart and a lot of personality. His smile and his wit and stuff, kind of a smart aleck, but he how nothing seems to get him down, and he even tries to befriend. Uh, Let me get his name right again, Billy, who is going to be Shazam in the movie. Tries to befriend him, and he likes to talk a lot and just get along really well. And he's just a really likable character, in my opinion. The villain, however, who the movie actually starts with, oh man, uh, it's kind of dark. I'll go ahead and say that right off the back. But really, it's the darkest thing in the film going forward. As I was watching the film, I realized, yeah, I understand now what they meant by this article, which I'm actually going to put in the link to this in the description of this video. Is Shazam okay for kids? Here's what the director says. This is at Cinema Blend by Dirk Libby. I'll go ahead and read you a quote here. It's clear from the trailers that Shazam is a somewhat different superhero movie than we're used to seeing. It looks a lot funnier, and many of the main roles are played by young kids. But if young kids are the stars of Shazam, does that mean that Shazam is also a movie for kids? A fan recently asked director David F. Sandberg this question, and he replied that parents worried about too much violence shouldn't need to worry too much, as Shazam is no worse than a classic blockbuster. I'd say, and this is a quote from him, I'd say the type of violence and scares are comparable to Jurassic Park, so if they can handle that, it should be fine. End quote. Again, I'm going to put the link to this article in the description because really, this opening sequence and of this little kid who has a horrible father and a horrible brother. And I'm thinking to myself, I guess, what is he like? A stepson? Is he like the hated stepchild or something? Is he not really part of their family? What kind of arrangement is this? No, he is the blood brother and son of these really nasty guys. And I mean, he's got this 8 ball in his hand, and he asks questions, and he shakes it up to see what's the answer, what's the answer, outlook not so good, no way, and all that kind of stuff. Well, he starts hallucinating right there in the car as they're driving down this snowy road. Where? I'm not sure where it said it was, but I think it said the year was 1970 something. Anyway, he is like spirited away in his mind as the same effect that later appears in the film when Billy starts having the same kind of hallucination in this railway in this subway train where it looks like the windows are icing up and he's like, what's going on, what's going on, where am I? Well, he's basically transported in his mind through witchcraft or whatever sorcery by the wizard played by Jimon, I want to get his name right, Jimon Hunso, who you've seen in a bunch of movies, and he was also in the Marvel Universe. He was like the cyborg guy under Ronan in, what is it, Guardians of the Galaxy. So he's he's been in Marvel now, he's in DC, and I've seen him in a bunch of movies, but I'll never think he's more memorable as far as the way I remember him. This is, again, Jimon Hunsu than in Gladiator, if you saw that movie, where there's Russell Crowe. He's been cut down by a sword and unconscious. These people pick him up and they're basically putting him into slavery. And there's Jamon Hunsu's character saying, when Russell Crowe wakes up and he sees all the maggots, all the flies that have laid their eggs and the maggots on his wound, he's like, no, leave them. They'll clean it for you. That made him, I'll never forget him after that. I know that's kind of gross, but that's how I always remember him from that role in Gladiator. Again, that's Jamon Hunsu. He's the wizard, and he's trying to find somebody who's pure of heart to pass on all of his power to, because, well, his time is short. He's grown weak over these many centuries of searching, and it's just, he's not the only one who's searching for someone to instill all their power in. There are these 7 demons representing the 7 deadly sins, I think is the way they said it, and he tries to recruit this kid who's so put upon and so abused. But the kid, you see that he's not pure of heart. This is Ethan Pugio. I can't pronounce his last name. Pugiotto. I'll just say Ethan. He's the young Thaddeus Savannah from the 1974 flashback sequence that you see, right? And the wizard's like, you are not pure of heart, because the kid's going over there to pick up the eye, as they keep calling it. I think that's what they call it. It's like you can either touch the wizard's staff and say Shazam and be the hero, or you can have all the power you can imagine by going along with what these demons want. And it's the classic what are you uh, scenario, and it's really well done in my opinion. I mean, it was entertaining as all get out. I kid you not. It was I just really enjoyed watching this at the theater. He says, "You are not pure of heart. You will never be," and he's banishing him. He stops him from getting the eye, but at the same time, he gets whooshed back into his self, driving along in that car again with his horrible father and his horrible brother. And he starts freaking out like, no, no, let me back. I want to do it. And of course, they see him like he's hallucinating. And his brother actually like starts manhandling him again, like, calm down, you crazy. They calling him all kind of bad names. And he's trying to like settle him down, because the kid's like, he knows where he just was. He wasn't in the car anymore. He was in this whole other place. And so they almost have an accident. And then there's this scene where his dad, they're stopped in the middle of the road, and he's like, you miserable, pathetic little, and he calls him calls him a cuss word. Basically, poop, only a cuss word. And that was one of those things where I was thinking, I wonder if this is really for kids. And I'm thinking to myself, to play it safe, because I wouldn't want kids to get any bad ideas from anything, and I wouldn't want to be responsible for. And so I'm going to go ahead and just go and say no. Shazam really isn't for really young kids at all. He calls him that. He says, you could have got us killed. And the thing is, right at that moment, and this is a go ahead, I'll go, should I spoil it? You know what? I won't. I won't say what happens. But the thing is, something, the way the sequence plays out, it is, there's a darkness to it. And I couldn't think, but yeah, this is a DC movie right here. As calm, uh, as pleasant music calmly plays over a horrible event. I'm thinking, yeah, they're trying to be all edgy with this. Anyway, this is this kid's childhood. He is a really abused and bullied person, except that he's not of the same spirit as the other kid, Billy, searching and searching for his family that he's lost. He wants to enact revenge, rather, on his family for all the abuse he's gone through, and for his dad saying, you can't be a little kid forever. You gotta be able to stand up like a man. And the thing is, it's his own brother who's terrorizing him. So, yeah, it's just a horrible family and a horrible childhood experience. And you kind of feel for him. But at the same time, when you see who he grows up to be, Mark Strong as Dr. Savannah. And I thought to myself, he is the reason, well, one of the reasons why I said, you know what, I think this will be pretty good, because I've liked him in a lot of stuff that I've seen him in. And I haven't seen him in a lot of stuff, but he plays a bad guy so well. He's just one of those guys. And I got to see him in a movie where he's not a bad guy. Anyway, I like him, and that's one of the reasons why I said, you know what, he's going to make this movie worthwhile. And so I said, you know what, I want to go ahead and see it. So I said, you know what, let's go ahead and see this movie at the theater. It's all that's out that I care to watch, and so I'm glad I saw Shazam. The special effects are okay. There's not. The thing is, though, they managed to make a film where there's not some huge epic battle. It's much more homey. It's much more down to earth. It's much more. There aren't buildings being destroyed, and there's not some huge loss of life. There's a story about a huge loss of life from past uh, Shazam. Uh, of how, well, I can't even recall the history, but the wizard recounts it to Billy Batson, the kid who he chooses to be Shazam after Billy stands up for Freddy, or tries to, against these two bullies from school. And he says, "You're pure of heart. I choose you, Billy Batson." And it's it's really well done stuff, and also hilarious at the same time. Because I'll go ahead and give you this. I mean, I rarely laugh out loud at a movie, but there's this sequence when, after he becomes Shazam, he immediately is transported back to the subway, and he is Shazam. He's the adult Zachary Levy, or Levi. I don't know which way they pronounce his name. Levi. Zachary Levy or Levi. And there's this guy in his face saying, "Whoa, my man!" It's like he's like talking about what he's wearing. He's in the Shazam costume, and this guy's right in his face saying, "This looks goofy as all get out, but you're a brave man. You made it work." I can't recall all that he said, but he's like, "What you're wearing on this subway," and he's freaking out because he's like, he realizes he's a grown man dressed up like some kind of weird looking superhero. Anyway, again, what are some high points? The kid actors were all really great. There's this precious little girl who just did a really great job. Faith Herman as Darla Dudley, and all those kids. They each had their own personality. They all knocked it out of the park. And I say that as somebody who I've actually started thinking before about, I wonder if it's a good idea to even have young kids in movies, because you never know you never know what it does to the mind, and you never know what they're really exposed to and what is asked of them in acting because they are doing a job, and then again it's precisely because so many of them have great personalities. Like again, Freddie almost made this movie. Freddie Freeman, played by Jack Dylan Grazer. He's basically he almost seems like the manager, and they actually have a joke about that. He's the manager. He's Captain Sparklefinger's manager, what they call uh, Shazam. And again, of course, like in so many superhero movies, they got the funny montage of him testing out his powers and everything. And it's the age of social media, so he's videotaping him and putting it all on YouTube. And he's got this following. And you really see something I liked about this movie was the subtle way they put it in the context of an already existing superhero universe. Freddy collects things like Batman's Batarang, and it looks like the one from Justice League or something. It's like, oh yeah, it's real. And this bullet right here that he's got in a bag, and it's like got a certificate of authenticity in there, bounced off Superman and stuff like that. So, and he follows their stories and stuff. And now here's this other superhero. And the thing is, when they're having these origin stories, when they're just introducing these superheroes, like you can think about Batman or Spider-Man and how the cops would always chase down the X-Men, blah, blah, blah. Policemen in this movie just walk right by Shazam. It's like they know who he is. People know him from social media. And it's that kind of a story where, yeah, there are superheroes here in this world. And there are also all these normal people living their lives. And hopefully the superheroes can help them as much as they can, serve humanity, and blah blah blah. It's like there's already this existing understanding that was kind of neat. I'm thinking, you would think the police would be coming to arrest him. He's flying around. He accidentally knocks windows out with his powers and stuff as he's trying to harness his full ability and stuff. And that's part of the story with the villain when the demons inform him that there's someone who can defeat you. The power of Shazam. You must kill him before he realizes his true power. And so then from that point on, uh, Dr. Savannah tries to find him and do away with him so that he won't be challenged as top dog as far as these otherworldly wizard and demonic powers that he has to. So, because after he takes out his, well, I won't even say that, but I'll just say there's a sequence that I thought, whoa, this is a little bit unnerving as far as the way the demons look and they're surrounding all these office people. And I just thought to myself, you know what? This would be a bit much for kids. It really would, just in my opinion. But yeah, uh, I won't give any more spoilers as far as things that happen. It's a real what are you made of? What do you do with your power? Freddy actually confronts Billy when he's Shazam about what exactly are you doing? You play these little tricks and people give you money. Literally, there's a scene where Shazam is like he takes selfies with people and they're walking off. He's like, sometimes people give me money so that I because he's still gotta say Shazam and go home to his foster parents, his foster family, and it's a really great story as far as how he finally uh, learns to appreciate what other people are doing for him and actually try and pay it forward by doing real things for other people. The ending was a treat because there came a point where I'm thinking, how is he going to defeat Savannah? How Dr. Savannah? How does he beat him? He's got all these demons on his side, and how is this going to play out? And really, it's one of those things where I said to myself, you know what? I'm glad I didn't know about Shazam, the comic book. Otherwise, the ending, the way he beats Savannah, wouldn't have been as much as a treat as it was for me. But it was really enjoyable. I mean, I mean, it was it was good. The ending fight at the fair was really something, and I liked it a whole lot. The story with his mother is just truly tragic. I won't say what happens, but This is one of those, and this is me. I mean, I've got some thoughts about this stuff, about how things play out in the real world. I realize this is a superhero movie, but the imagery that's put across in this movie, some of it really isn't the most helpful stuff. But as far as if you look at it the way that I'm going to go ahead and look at it, as a bunch of people who are just kind of thrown together, people make mistakes, people do things they ought not, but then people also come together, and people of every shape and size, color, and just all kind of backgrounds, and people have gone through different things with the commonality of they're looking for a family. That's the message that I took from the ending of the film, and how even after people have been so put upon, abused, neglected, and even abandoned, just completely abandoned, they can still, even after experiencing all that, choose to go and help some people who they do care about and love, and who love and care about them. It is a it, I don't know what to say as far as, is it unlike any superhero flick that I've seen? Not just because it's the first Shazam movie that's been made in forever, if there ever has been a Shazam movie made, but there's just something about it as far as what's, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. So I'll just say I enjoyed the film, and hopefully I didn't spoil too much. The kid actors were great. There's some cussing along the way, even by the kids. That's the part where I didn't like. And uh, I'll say that Mark Strong was great. I really loved him as the evil demon guy wanting revenge on the world. His acting was great. I liked Zachary Levi or Levy. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything. The uh, the humor was pretty good. The family was his foster family. You're thinking, oh great, what is this gonna be? When he pulls up in the house, when they come to get him, it's like, are these some shysters? Are these some more abusive people like you see in the superhero movies a lot? Like, no, no. They actually played with the convention a little bit. It's like, these are decent people who want to make sure that some other kids are taken care of who don't have anybody to take care of them, because they were also foster kids, kids who needed help and were helped, and so they're basically, there's a whole lot of pay it forward good deeds and helping people in this film. And Billy Batson's character, I really think that he learns that in this film. It's just the way he learns it, and the relationship with his mother. It was it was really sad and disturbing, and I'll just leave it at that. But some things that I didn't even get. Well, you know what? I'll end up giving away a spoiler if I say what I didn't understand about the film. It'll be getting too particular. Anyways, in fact, I won't even say spoilers in the title now that I've thought about it, because I haven't really given away much of anything at all. Hopefully, you'll enjoy the film if you watch it. I liked it, and particularly the ending sequence and how Billy uh, was able to overcome Savannah, and the character of Freddy at the very end, and a certain cameo which maybe you can read about online. Anyways, I guess that's all I got for now. I've gone for half an hour. Whoa! That's too long. Okay, people. Thanks for listening to me, and we'll see you next time. Hey YouTube, this is David back again with another video. Welcome back to the Red, Gold, and Blue Nation Movies channel. I'm out here tonight underneath a sky full of stars, even more than when I came out. That's getting clearer, no clouds, and I just
Wanted to talk a little bit more about the last review that I put up. Obviously, I haven't been putting up videos in a long time, and I've only recently started back, but something about my review of Shazam had me thinking. I recently watched this yesterday, or the day before, a review by somebody who I often watch, Michael King, a YouTuber, who I'll put the link to his channel down in the description box. His channel was, I think, MLK Enterprises or something like that, but now he's changed it to, and I think he did it in this Shazam review of his that he made. He's changed it to The Choice Voice. Or he may have changed it back by now, but I was like, is that him? Yeah, that's his profile picture. Yep, The Choice Voice. I'll put the link in the description. He put up this review of Shazam that really made me think, you know what? He's right. And I need to go back and clarify some things myself and maybe just rethink some things that I said about Shazam, the movie. Because, and let me preface it this way, I went into that movie just wanting to be entertained, and I was. And I've talked already about how much I enjoyed the villain. I can't think of the actor's name right now, but he's been in some stuff that I enjoyed, and I liked seeing him in this movie. Uh, I stand by that, obviously, but some things I said about the film. But you know what? Let me do it this way. I'll say that the decency of that family and the endeavor of taking in children in the movie, this orphanage that Billy Batson goes to, even though he's kind of resentful of it. He doesn't want to be there. He's searching for his mother. That's all understandable. But it was the heartfelt intention of those folks taking in those kids, and they had been orphans themselves, things like that. Plus the ending, which I still won't give away. There was something that made me. I got lost in my like a childhood, like an imagination that I just didn't see coming. If I knew the actual storyline, if I had collected the comics and I was a big fan of Shazam, the story, I would have probably seen it coming, sure. But I was kind of glad that I didn't, because I don't know that I would have enjoyed it that much. But that being said, uh, Michael King really, well, basically, he opened my eyes to something that's happened with this movie. He was disappointed with it. And again, I'll put the link to his channel. In fact, I'll put the link to that video of his so you'll see it that way. He does know the story. He is a fan of Shazam. Whereas I was just, it's all that I really think is worthwhile at the movies right now. My family's going out, so we'll see Shazam. That was my thought process. That was where I was coming from. But he knows the story and he likes it. He likes the story of Shazam. He likes the character. For years and years. He said when he was a kid, Saturday morning cartoons, apparently there was a Shazam cartoon that treated Shazam well. And I didn't know that. I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't know anything about Shazam. In fact, I don't know a whole lot about a lot of the DC characters except, Batman. I've always been more of a Marvel person. Not that I like all of them, but just, X-Men. I liked them a lot as a kid. But I got to thinking, by his reaction and his disappointment, and the things that he said, in particular, that the execution of the film was bad. It made me rethink it. It made me rethink it, and I was thinking, as he spoke about the, I don't know if it's supposed to be the gods or what, but the powers that the wizard instills or passes on to Billy Batson and makes him Shazam, the strength of Hercules, and like 5, 6, 7 other people, the wisdom of Solomon. And basically he's naming these gods and legendary figures of strength and wisdom and power and invincibility and heroism and courage and all this stuff, all combined into one and passed on to Shazam. And when you think about it like that, what a character. What a character that is. But that's really not what I saw in the movie. I admit it. The wizard says that in the movie, but it's almost like not really a throwaway line. He's declaring it, but that's the only time it's really talked about. The particular attributes of all these different people. Again, I'm thinking of Hercules and the wisdom of Solomon and all this stuff. And Michael Keane is absolutely right in his very basic complaint that really did not come across in Shazam. when he is Shazam, not Billy Batson. And I just can't fight it. I can't deny it. I'm like, well, I didn't realize that. It just didn't click in my mind. I was so taken away by the movie. I thought, well, this is just really entertaining. He's still Billy Batson, even when he's Shazam. And I didn't realize that a very basic thing about Shazam, it's not supposed to be that way. He's supposed to have the wisdom of Solomon and the strength of Hercules and the 5 other things. And it's like, you know what? I uh, I didn't realize that. I enjoyed the movie too much, not knowing about it. But I really regretted that. Not, I don't regret enjoying the movie because I still enjoy the movie, but the way I felt about what Michael was saying, I thought, you know what? I've just done what all these people who love these garbage new Star Wars movies have done. They don't know a thing about it. They didn't love the characters as a kid like I did. And so they're just going in and having a lot of good popcorn fun, completely empty, devoid of a moral lesson or even any continuity of logic or sticking to the rules of Star Wars. And when I say that, this is something I've said 100 times. The great thing about fantasy is you get to make up your own rules. But then you got to be faithful to your own rules that you make up, which these new people, J.J. Abrams and Mr. Johnson, they have not done. Kathleen Kennedy, no. It's totally different. It's a totally different sort of storytelling, non-coherent and nothing like the originals. But people love it, as evidenced by the billions of dollars that these movies have made. And I was like, you know what, man, Michael, why'd you have to say that? Now I'm guilty of it. Now I've gone and done it, but at least I'm honest enough to admit it. Shazam, and he's right, really didn't do justice to the story, this movie that they've just made. As enjoyable as it is, it's a regrettable thing still, because another objection, another thing that Michael didn't like about it, and you can see this in his review, I'll put the link in the description, is that thinking just for instance about the wisdom of Solomon. Billy Batson, when he says that as Shazam, what? What are you talking about? Man, I don't even know how to pee in this thing. He's kind of a bumbler, and he's like he doesn't he. Needless to say, he doesn't have the wisdom of Solomon in the movie. Not at all. He barely. He's he's saying kind of dumb stuff and empty humor in some places. Your phone's charged, and now your phone's charged. Your phone's charged, and he's charging people's phones, which Freddy gets onto him. It's like, is this what you're gonna do with your power? That's another reason why I like the character Freddy in the movie. But you see what I mean? It's like, and again, I don't even know that much about Shazam, but just that basic foundation isn't there. Where are these 7 heroes? The strength of Hercules, and I can't think of the other 5 people's names. The wisdom of Solomon. Where is it? Why isn't Shazam drawing on that wisdom and that strength, that courage, these 7 attributes? What is he doing? It's like he's still a kid, but in a Superman body with Superman powers. It's like, what's going on here? That's not really him. And I was thinking, you know what? I'm glad I watched this video actually. That Michael, as much as he's stepping on my toes for enjoying the movie so much, which he, like so many reviewers, they preface it with, "And if you enjoyed the movie, more power to you." I just don't see it, and I appreciate that. But it's like there's also something else in your brain where you want to say, "No, no. Why do you want to enjoy this? Why would you enjoy this? Don't you understand? This is an imposter. This isn't the real thing." And so I understand where he's coming from. And he actually ends the review by saying, well, another one bites the dust. And it like burns in you. It's like, it like pricks you in the heart or punches you in the gut. Like, yeah, you know what? Yeah. You only get one shot to make the Shazam movie. And when you do, it's empty popcorn fun and I was thinking about this too, it really is a missed opportunity and a waste in this sense. And that is just thinking about the children. And again, I don't want to ruin the ending or anything for you if you haven't seen the film, but there could have been more of a challenge. There could have been something of how do I want to say this? There could have been something of sacrifice and more of a moral lesson, more nobility, something you reach up toward, trying to attain some higher lesson. Again, sacrifice is the best thing I can think. But it just really isn't there. It just isn't there. And I hate that. And I hate it that Michael King has just seen another, especially childhood favorite character, another favored franchise story given less than proper treatment is probably a sugar-coated way of saying it, but just kind of worked over and not been nearly what it could have been if people weren't so afraid of being serious, of doing things that aren't just popcorn, another flick, $100 million nothing, you know? And again, I think I said in my review of the film that the story between Billy Batson and his mother and what happens in the film is, what word did I use? Is kind of tragic and disappointing. But really, Michael brought it out even better. He said, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make any sense. The way a certain character behaved and stuff. And I'll leave on this right here. And this might be the best thing that I can say about it. Again, Michael King brought this out, and I just want to say I agree with him wholeheartedly. The wizard was looking for somebody pure of heart, and Michael King actually says, okay, what is that exactly? What does it mean to be pure of heart? Good question. And Michael King, he is a keen observer. This is a great question in this film where this wizard, who for whatever reason he's dying, I guess they can't live forever, but the power of Shazam has maintained him like an old man in that cave for so long, he needs to pass on his power to someone else. He's looking for somebody pure of heart who would be worthy. And Michael Keane is right. He said this film opens up with Billy Batson. Well, actually, Michael was wrong about this part. Billy wasn't robbing the place. He was just trying to start a diversion to get the cops in there so that he could use their radio and their computer to find out the address of somebody. But then he did steal a cop's donut, spoiler, which is meant to be another, like, ha-ha joke in the movie. But when you think about it like this, it comes off as, that's not pure of heart. Calling the police and wasting their time, that's not pure of heart. And worse yet, there is a part in the film where Frankie's being bullied. He doesn't get run over by a truck, but he does get knocked over by a truck where the bullies, these, I guess they're a couple grades, 2 or 3 grades ahead of them, and they've got this truck. They say, "You're going to pay for the damage of my car, punk," or something like that, and they start bullying Freddie when they're the one who knocked him over. And the thing is, Billy is just going to walk away. He doesn't want to be a part of it. He's like, and even as Shazam, he later tells a character in the film, well, he doesn't say it exactly like this, but the message is, stop worrying about this stuff. Stop worrying about these other people. Look out for number one, i.e. yourself. Look out for yourself. Numero uno. And he just walks off. And he's just walking off from the crippled Freddy about to get his head beat in by the bullies, and nobody was helping him. Nobody's helping him. All these other kids are just going to stand there and let somebody get beat down by 2 boys that are bigger than he is, until the little boy who's also in the orphanage, little boy, I mean, like the smallest kid there, he grabs some nunchucks off of him and says, "I know how to use these things," and he accidentally hits himself in the back of the head. Again, meant to be just another joke. Ha ha, that was funny. He's trying to help, and he ended up hitting himself in the head, and everybody's like chuckling, and yet Billy's just going to walk off until Freddy says something about, no, they say something about Freddy's mother, or mother, the word mother, the idea of Like your mom is blah blah blah, something like that. It kind of triggers Billy to where he turns around and when he walks back, and then it's like he's gonna beat the bullies up, and he gets Freddy out of there and stuff. And it's almost as thinking about it now, it's almost as cheesy as Batman suddenly being friends with Superman just because Superman says, "You've got to save Martha," because his mother's named Martha, and everybody in the world's like, "That's it. That's what makes you come to your senses and not murder Superman with a kryptonite spear." Oh boy. Anyway, just think about that. Is that pure of heart? Because it's in the very next scene in the movie when the wizard transports with his power Billy into the whatever other realm is where he's subsiding, where he's just living out his days on a stone throne, searching the world for the chosen ones, one who's pure of heart. And you're thinking to yourself afterwards, and I'm thinking about it now, it's like he went back and kept Freddy, from getting his other leg broke by the two hooligans. And that's it. That's the only decent thing that he's done. But pure of heart. I understand exactly what Michael King means when he says the execution of the film really was bad. Pure of heart would imply to me like this is the way you live, like all the time, not just when being confronted by a situation like that. Even though it obviously was the right thing for him to do at that moment. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? The wizard would base it all on this one thing. But you couldn't do that and get this person who is supposed to be Shazam, able to wield the power of Hercules, the wisdom of Solomon, and blah 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 blah. Ditto the other 5 or 6 entities. And it's like I really I really disagree with Michael King with his assessment of it. And I hate it that what's done is done as far as they basically butchered another one of his uh, childhood favorites. Anyways, it's not going to keep me from hating these new Star Wars movies. Anyway, just wanted to go back and talk about it a little bit more and comic book movies in general. I'm holding fast with my commitment to know when to say when. Endgame is out now, Avengers Endgame, and I'm going to go see that, but I got to make that it. That's got to be all she wrote. There's not going to be anything quite as epic or built up for a while anyways, and really it's time to just throw in the towel with this stuff. People are trying to spoil that film left and right on the internet, but I'm not really paying any attention to it. I'll see it when the riffraff clears out in a couple of weeks. Probably go see it for Mother's Day or something. Anyways, that's all I got for now, people. Thank you for listening to me, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks.